guys, welcome back to Resistance Chicks. We are your hosts, Leah and Michelle. Today, we are very humbled and very privileged to have a special guest with us. Nick is a student at Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School. 2 weeks ago today, there was a horrific massacre that happened at his school. We went live, and Nick showed up in the chat. Had never been to our channel before, and he showed up. And somebody had said, hey, why don't you guys do an interview? And he said, you know what, I would be willing. So we set that up and we were able to talk to him live. Now, today they went back to school. And again, here he shows up while we're going live. And we said, would you do an interview today? And he said, yes, that he would. So Nick, thank you for being here.
Thank you for being here. So
Yeah.
we were talking a little bit beforehand. Why don't you tell people what it was like for you going back today? Tell them what you told me about how school's not going to be the same for the rest of the year.
So going back today it was just seriously a different experience because I used to go with my friend, we'd take his car, park, walk to school, and that would be my day.
Oh.
Now,
Oh, wow.
today it was just walking to school, there was reporters everywhere,
Oh, I can
tents
only
everywhere,
imagine.
trucks, police cars, there were millions of policemen, millions of other students supporting us, and it really did
Wow.
felt great because
Did it?
huh?
No,
I said, did it? I'm
because it seems like an
Oh,
awful
oh,
lot
yeah.
of support, right?
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
it was there were horses out front for therapy and stuff.
Wow.
Oh my gosh, that's
Yeah,
fantastic.
I know they gave us these little stress balls too.
I
Just
saw
I
but
see
I think, yeah, is it
working
helping
that.
at all?
Yeah, it definitely is. Just something to occupy my hand, really.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was pretty much our teachers. We're having 3 short days this week,
Okay.
and so basically, we went to all our classes, and our teachers were either like, or pretty much all my teachers were like, really glad to see us. Nothing
Right.
happened, and that really that sparked something in me. Like I'm just really glad that my teachers, they care so much.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
And
fantastic.
also, I mean, it really did break down some students to hear when two of my teachers had to say, they lost a student,
Right.
and the desks are empty there, and I didn't really like seeing that either.
Yeah.
No, I can't imagine. So, did you know anybody personally?
Any of the
Any of the
victims?
victims?
I did know Alyssa. I had texted her a couple times, and I was actually gonna hang out with her one time, but yeah, that's pretty much as close as I was to
Okay.
someone.
Okay. Who was Alyssa? Is she a freshman?
Yeah, she was a freshman, and she's a soccer player for the school,
Okay.
or was.
Was.
Wow. So, is there anything that you can tell us about this teacher who laid down his life for the students?
Um, you know, I honestly just think that was so heroic of him, and I wanted to get something to symbolize that. I'd seen a lot of people, getting like tattoos and things. I don't want to express myself like that,
Okay.
Right, right.
but I just want to get, or try to find something that symbolizes him, that
Wow.
because he's a hero and he saved lives.
Did you know him, like just from being
Um,
around school, like you knew who he was?
oh yeah, I last year when my mom took me to school a couple times and late, he'd be at the gate and he was really nice and he just let me through. Didn't have to go through the front office or anything.
Oh, that's fantastic. I love
Mhm.
teachers like that. They're just all right, just go on.
So you said you had 3 short days, and you did go all day to school. Just did you just go for a few hours, or?
Yeah. We usually get out at 2:40 on regular days, and but today we got out at 11:40, which will be the same for the
Right.
next 2 days,
Okay.
cause and school just it really won't be the same because we're not taking our standardized tests anymore that we were going to.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Um, Teachers pretty much gave everyone an A on tests and stuff.
Okay.
It's still just really crazy to think about though. A lot of people still can't process it, and like
Right.
Also, the building has been shut down, and I had a
Yeah.
class in there, and
Okay.
now it's they pretty much, yeah, they rescheduled every single teacher that was in the building to other classrooms, so it was
Wow.
kind of different. I
Mm-hmm.
was in a different class, and it'll be like that for the rest of the year.
I'm wondering if some teachers have to double up. I mean, there's not enough classrooms, are there, in the other building, or are there?
Oh, I'm honestly, I don't think so. They do have planning periods though, which they
Okay.
plan out the work for,
Right.
and so basically they took those periods and they like moved the teachers who have planning periods all to like
Hmm.
one room. So there's like 20 planning teacher periods in a room, and
Okay.
then somebody goes and teaches in that room.
I get it. That makes sense.
Just yeah, yeah.
So, did your teachers give you an outline of what the rest of the year is going to look like? Are you going to get back into academics, or?
Um, well, basically, sorry, I'm just trying to process it right now.
You're
No, it's
fine.
okay. Take your time.
Um, Basically, for the rest of the year, what they said would happen is next week we would kind of get back into academics, but
Okay.
still kind of grieve a bit, and we
Yeah.
not really, still not really getting to work. They just said that, for the rest of the year, it's gonna be easy stuff,
Mm-hmm.
not really, we're not really gonna have any like serious work, kind of just
Uh huh.
basic lessons and tests because
Mm-hmm.
what happened this year was just absolutely destroying, and it destroyed the
Right.
rest of the year.
Right.
Yeah. No, that's completely understandable. So, how are you doing? Are you able to sleep? Are you eating okay? Are you able to get any
I'm
exercise?
I'm definitely I feel much more normal now that I went back to school because the 2 week break just didn't feel normal. I didn't really know
Right.
what to do with myself then.
Right.
Um, it was, I went to Disney and I still didn't even feel normal.
Oh, I can't. Yeah.
Oh, that's awful. If you can't feel
Hmm.
normal at Disney, I mean,
Yeah.
And
seriously.
I do see some people saying if David Hogg in the chat does go to our school. Yes, he does go to our school.
So, Nick, and here's the thing, because I've told you a little bit about, what our channel is and the things that we discuss. And so I have no problem. I know a lot of people, after we interviewed you last time, they're like, how dare you use this kid? And I'm like, listen, we just want to be open and honest. I don't want to lead you with any questions.
Right.
But what we are seeing on
From
the
the outside.
mainstream media, on CNN and things like that, is we feel personally at Resistance Chicks. I don't know how you feel, and we can get your opinion, but we feel like they are parading these young people, your fellow students, around for a political agenda. And instead of it being this grassroots movement where these young people are saying, yeah, this is what we want, and we want to make a change, and we want to fight for these other kids, we just feel like the media is using them to kind of further their
A certain
agenda.
group, like of about 11 kids.
Because there were a lot of other students at your school that
Yeah.
have been censored, some ROTC students that were
Hmm.
supposed to be at the town hall and things like that, and we find that really disheartening.
Did those particular kids, did they go to school today? Like there's a group of like, I don't know, 10 or 11 that.
Emma Gonzalez and David Hogg and
Oh, yeah, David. He was at school today.
Okay.
Someone took a Snapchat video, and I also saw him walking to
Uh,
my third period. And the other ones, yeah, I did see them at school too. And yeah, they it was pretty much just like just kind of all getting together today, and
mm-hmm.
it was definitely something different. I never thought, I mean, today this would be such a different story right now. If none of this would have happened, I would have been just regularly going to school,
Right.
regularly doing everything. None of this, I wouldn't have even dreamed about this.
Right.
right.
No, you
This
can't
isn't
dream
something
about
that enters
this.
into anybody's
You
mind.
can't. It doesn't enter your mind whatsoever.
Hmm.
But how are you physically doing? Are you able to sleep right? Are you able to eat? Are you able to function?
Sleeping has been a bit different because, I mean, just reimagining it over and over. It's just what
Right.
everyone's probably doing too, having sleeping issues.
Right.
It's just hard to believe that it still happened in our community.
Right. It is hard to believe. It is.
So let me ask you this. The community is fairly not small, but it's enough that because there were 17 victims that actually died. I'm sure there's more that were injured. Do you have friends that are having trouble coping because they lost somebody that was really close to them?
Um, that I think about it, yes, I do. I actually saw Patrick Petty today. His sister passed away in the shooting, and he
Wow.
was he was at school. You know, and on the outside, he was smiling, but on the inside, I'm sure he's definitely still gonna be dealing with that for a while.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
as
Yeah.
anybody would be. Now, I had heard, and I don't know if they've told this to you guys, and that's why I'm trying to confirm it. Are they going to tear down the freshman building?
Um, well, what they said to us today pretty much was that the building, well, it's gonna be there for the rest of the year, just blocked off like it is right now. There's just a fencing around it with sandbags, and
Right,
because they probably still have to investigate in the trial and everything.
right.
But I'm pretty sure that yes, they're going to knock the building down and just build a new one. Because I definitely feel I don't want to go back in the building. I'm sure
Right,
nobody wants to.
right.
Right. Well, another thing that people aren't really thinking about. What about the sports? I mean, it's going to be hard to even like compete. Are your spring sports teams? Are they still on? Are they still practicing? I mean, what you know? Anything that's happened with those?
I did I actually I don't know if this did happen, but I did see one of my friends Snapchat today that they were at a track meet practice at school. So I'm pretty sure track is going on still, but I'm not so sure about the other sports because one of the baseball games did get canceled, and I'm pretty sure they're gonna try to continue the season though.
I don't know how the other schools would be able to compete against you guys. You would just be like, I can't, we can't beat them. We can't even try our hardest. Because when
Mm-hmm.
something like this hits, you don't realize the ramifications that it has in the outlying communities.
Right.
This
Mm-hmm.
really does impact everyone.
Everyone.
It
Everyone.
really does. It really does impact everyone. All those other schools, it really does show a lot how they've done the walkouts, done the marches, made signs. That really does mean a lot to our school, and that all of them supporting us. That really does make a change.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So how do you feel about all of the media attention? It's got to. There's so much media there. Were you surrounded by media going into school today?
Oh yeah. There was just people everywhere. I mean, with cameras and podcasts running up to all of us. Some guy tried to interview me, and I really didn't want to, because I just wanted to go to school and try to have a
Right.
normal day
Right.
Right.
without all that. And they weren't really being nice either. They just kind of shoved a microphone in your face,
Wow.
and that's what I don't like is when they don't care. They just throw a microphone in your face and camera and try to make you answer questions.
Right. No, I completely understand. I was watching an interview today with the governor of Kentucky, and I actually don't remember this, but there was it within a year? There was a school shooting in Kentucky where 16 students were shot and 2 were killed, but we don't hear about it, and the media didn't swarm there. And I tried to swarm there, but the governor said, no, you need to leave because these students need to grieve and they need to heal. Um,
Mhm.
do you think that there is any negative ramifications of having such a huge media presence and not allowing space to just heal and grieve? Do you think that? What are your thoughts on a huge media presence rather than just okay, let's back
This
off,
is the first day
let's
back.
pack up our cameras, let's let these kids have their moment. What do you think about that?
I really do think that the media, there's just too much going on. It's making everyone, maybe some people do like to be interviewed, but I mean, it's really does get in our way, and I mean, it just kind of like we want to try to feel normal, and that it really does not help at all when there's millions of cameras, people. I mean, and it's probably going to be like this for, another week or two.
Right. Yeah, no, I can. Yeah, it's going to be like that for a while. You've got President Barack Obama tweeting out to the group of political activists, now turned political activists, saying, "We've been waiting for you." I don't know if you're aware, but the organization and the group who are planning the March on Washington, they've been given so far $2 or $3 million, and you've got Planned Parenthood, MoveOn.org, a lot of these giant progressive democratic organizations who are they've kind of hijacked the movement or whatever to kind of spin it in their own direction. Do the kids at school? I mean, I can understand because you want to have the conversation keep going. You want people to look at the victims. You want to feel sorry for the victims. You want to memorialize the victims and talk about them. But we're not seeing a lot of talk about the victims. But
there's just a ton of talk about gun control. It seems like that's the only thing, and it's really disturbing to me because I want to get to know if something's going to be in the media and the families are okay with it. I would want to get to know these victims. I want to know who they are. Let's give them the honor due what happened to them, and instead all of the attention seems to be focused on just a political agenda, and it's disturbing to me.
That really, it's disturbing to me too, how they're trying to do things such as figure out the shooter's history and stuff. Why focus on that? Let's focus on the victims first. Let's focus on who they were. Let's remember them. Let's not, I mean, change does need to be made, but that really does need to wait. There's more important stuff in the way.
Right. Grieving and healing and working through this horrific event is just absolutely crazy. So
so here's a question that my mom has. She submitted it in writing, and this is a pertinent question. There's two of them here actually. One of them is we're kind of curious about your teachers at school, because we've seen just a couple that are really getting behind this anti-gun push. And so my question is, are you seeing that from the teachers, that there are teachers that are trying to encourage the students to get out and protest? Or do you have teachers that are more or less just trying to, like you just said, focus on the victims and the healing and stuff?
We do have, in my opinion, I think we do have more teachers focused on the victims because, they knew them personally. They taught them. They were their teachers. They don't care about all this gun. They're not focused on that right now. What they're focused on is really, remembering these people.
That's awesome.
The people who were in their class, who they taught as a student.
Yeah. This is real deal. And so she also had another question that I thought was really interesting. I mean, I'm sure you're aware that teachers are not allowed to talk about God in school. However, given a situation like this, in my opinion, and I'm a Christian, and you talked that you guys go to church and stuff like that occasionally, God really is a healing thing and a comforter. Are there any teachers that are kind of encouraging you guys to maybe pray, even if they can't say God, like just,
or go to church
find
healing?
I mean, is there any teachers that are trying to encourage you guys to get help from, maybe a spiritual higher power there?
What they have been doing, since they can't really mention that topic, is basically just telling us to go to, we have counselors all over the school, so they've been telling us, if we need a counselor, or they said personally talk to them. They're there for that.
That's awesome.
I'm sure they would prefer to say pray, but since they can't, they're suggesting counselors themselves, which I think is great.
Yeah. Is there any student-led prayer groups that you know of?
Not that I know of in my school. No, I don't. There might be a club for it. I'm not sure though.
Because sometimes, when I was in high school back in like you know, the 50s. I'm
Stop
just
it.
kidding.
She
We
does
had
not mean
we
the
had
50s.
student-led prayer groups, and if something like this happened, we would have gotten together. We would have
Yeah.
prayed around the flagpole. We would have been praying for victims and things like that. I
Mhm.
mean, I know that you guys are personally, but those kind of things can really help to talk things through. Have they set up any like group counseling sessions where you guys can like get together as a group and just talk things through?
Um, I don't. Sorry, I don't. I don't think they've set up groups, but I think they have sort of a group thing where like you can go sit at a table with like three other people that you don't know and a counselor, and you can all
Okay.
get to know each other. Try it. That is a sort of way, sort of. Yeah, that's sort of how it works.
So high school is well known for like cliques and for, you know, the jocks over here, the cool people over here, the nerds over here. I'm
Right.
I'm curious to see if this has brought you together, maybe broken down some of those barriers.
Oh, definitely. I
That's good to
really do
hear.
agree that everyone at our school has probably been brought together. I talked to people I didn't even know today. I talked to,
That's
new
beautiful.
people, and it felt good. It really did feel good to
That's
come
That's
together.
awesome. It's
awesome.
kind of sad that something like this makes people is something that would be a catalyst to bring people together.
Yeah, that you'll make
Mhm.
friends that you otherwise would not have had.
I will say
Oh,
this.
also,
I was going to say, I want to compliment you and your fellow students, regardless of wherever their political leanings are. The one thing that I have heard from both the right and the left on all media sources is that everyone from your school is
It's
very well
spoken.
spoken. You're very
oh yeah.
articulate. You're ready. And it's kind of shocking to us for you guys to be able to
Articulate.
articulate things so well. What do you attribute that to?
Um, let me. How do I
That
say this?
I know, I know.
I didn't.
I get you stopped up on the one question on being articulate.
I don't know how to really say this, but like I don't know if I really like understood the question.
Okay. Have you noticed yourselves being more articulate than say another group of high school students across the country? Because when things like this have happened in the past,
Kids go into shock. They can't really say what they're feeling. They can't process it. But you guys, you come on, and it's like no matter who we're listening to. One thing that I have seen in the media, pretty much everybody is commenting on how well spoken you guys are, how easy it is to discuss. Because I've noticed in society in general, and please don't take this personally, but high school kids in today's day and age are a lot more. They're a lot less intelligent than they used to be.
well, they're reclusive.
They're
so
reclusive.
so
Let's
used
keep
to
on our phones and our iPads.
to Twitter and texting that when you actually go
I
to talk to them, they don't
can't
really know
have
how
a
to communicate.
conversation.
Right. I definitely do agree with you that we do have a crazy generation nowadays that high school students yet has definitely changed a lot, but also our school, some kids there, I saw some kids talk about this really passionately, and I never thought I would see them talking about this very passionately, you know, and it was just crazy to see, people that I thought I'd never talk to, talk like this and talk so passionately about this topic, and it's
Mm-hmm.
just it really has shown me a difference in these people.
Hmm.
There's a little bit more depth to people than what
Yeah.
you see when you
Mhm.
pass them in the hallways.
Right. Just like
Oh,
I mean, we're used to teenagers just kind of being flippant, you know, kind of like the Valley Girl, or you know, like just kind of ditzy.
Airhead.
But you've really had some really articulate interviews had. So I want to give all the students praise for that, because it at least it
It's
makes
refreshing
it
to
yeah
see.
at least it makes it easy to know what they're saying and where they're coming from.
So what you're
mhm.
saying is there's a lot of discussion that's happening at school.
What are you
Yeah,
guys
oh,
talking
definitely.
about at school?
At school, everyone's kind of just today it was like everyone just kind of talking about just recoping what happened, talking about, they knew the people they knew and
Yeah.
our school, like how it's going to be for the rest of the year. Nobody really had too much to talk about because everyone's kind of just still trying to process like this really just happen to our school and our community.
Right.
Right.
So I have a question for you that just popped in my head. Have you guys been trying to get together like a narrative? Not a narrative. That's not the word I want. What happened? Like I was here at this time, and then I heard the shots fired, and then I didn't hear him here, and I thought it was over here. I mean, have you guys been having that discussion as how you remember it playing out and how all of those stories
Oh
weave
yeah,
together?
that's exactly what's happening. I've been talking to my friends all day about, where you were, what you heard, what you saw, and that was really something a lot of people were talking about today because it is better to talk about it.
Right.
And yeah.
So, do you know any people who actually saw the shooter, like physically saw him?
I did talk to one of my friends who said he was hitting the butt of his gun on the glass on the door, and he saw that. And
Wow.
then I I did not see him, but as I said before, when I was on my way to go to that building, I wasn't too sure because I was walking up to it and I did hear something and I didn't know what it was. And as
Okay.
soon as, the fire alarm, I thought I need to go back because
Okay.
I didn't know, if I should be with my teacher because they have to take roll call to see if you're present, if they
Right.
have all their students, and I needed
Right.
to make sure I was there.
Right.
Okay, that makes sense.
So one of the teachers in an interview said that it was about almost 45 minutes from the time the shooting started till the police came in and got people out. Is that how long you were stuck just waiting?
Oh, I was stuck for about 2 hours until we get
Wow.
out at 2:40, and I was stuck in the closet till 4:30.
Wow. Are
Yeah,
you
it
kidding?
took
Wow.
really, really, really long time.
That seems like forever. Was that the longest 2 hours of your life?
Oh yeah, just everyone, kind of worried in the room. It was definitely very, very long. And
So, go ahead.
also, they gave us these shirts. I wanted to show. I don't know if you can see it well.
Oh,
Oh
I love
wow!
They have the victims' names down here that were in
Go to
JROTC
the
because
right just a
I'm
little
in
bit.
Yeah, step to your right. There you
There
go.
it is. In loving memory of
Of
our
our
falling, what does it say?
cadets.
Cadets. Okay.
Oh, that's awesome. I love it. I
Yeah.
love that you guys have those.
So that was put out by the ROTC. Is that what you said?
Yeah, they gave all of us the shirts for because there were 3 cadets that we lost.
Yeah. So did you hear? You had two ROTC members that I believe were heroes. They remembered that there was some sort of Kevlar sheet in an interview that I saw, and they wrapped themselves and the other students in that. Do you know anything about that? Did you hear that story too?
Yeah, my friend was in the room. My best friend was in the room, and he said that that's what they did. They wrapped themselves in the sheets, and then I think 2 people stood by the door with wood planks in case he came,
Oh my gosh, that's
Wow.
incredible.
That
which
those
was
are heroes. I'm guessing were they seniors? Were those older kids protecting the younger
yeah.
kids or
It was Colton Hove. He was one of the ones that got interviewed a couple times, and then
right?
it was another one. They were both seniors, I think.
Okay.
That's
So
awesome.
that sounds like two heroes to be praised.
Mhm.
To give them some honor. That's pretty impressive and quick thinking
Well,
there.
I think there's probably going to be a lot of unsung heroes in a situation where you may be huddled up with a friend that's panicking and you talk them
Mhm.
down and you talk them through it. I'm sure there
Yeah.
are countless stories of that, and those stories will never be on the news. They'll never be shared.
Right.
But I can imagine that there are a lot of heroes in your school.
In that 2 hours that you guys were huddled together, did you guys talk to each other? Did you just sit there? Did you encourage one another?
There were a bunch of different things going on. Um, First 30 minutes, it was, is this real? Because apparently,
Yeah.
one of the teachers that got interviewed said that we were supposed to have a practice drill that same day. We were
Okay.
supposed to have an actual practice drill that nobody was gonna know about,
Oh.
and yeah, the teachers weren't even gonna know because they told us um, that they were gonna have a practice drill. They weren't gonna tell anyone. So half everyone thought it was practice. They thought they were
Wow.
blanks and a gun. And
Wow.
then
Wow.
I looked up my school, just looked up Stoneman Douglas. There you go. There's every single news article posting shooting at the school, and then I really did believe it.
You looked it up while you were there,
Yeah,
sitting there.
while
You
I
looked it up
was
on your phone.
sitting there. Mhm.
Wow. That's pretty intense.
So speaking of these drills, now that we have you and we can, I know we asked this the first time, but I don't know if we got more of a definitive answer because I don't know if you knew what I was asking. But so on Valentine's Day, there was supposed to be a drill. The teachers thought that
Mhm.
it was going to be kind of a surprise or whatever. Um,
Right.
what kind of drills do you guys normally have throughout the year? Is it something that you have frequently? These kinds of drills with these bullets that aren't real, that sort of thing?
Um. Well, basically, we had no idea because we've never experienced a drill. I'm
Oh,
sure the teachers have for training, but
Okay.
okay.
what they initially told us is that there would be, they would have teachers or they would have policemen who were dressed up in army things coming in, banging on the doors. That's how they originally described it. And they said sometime during the year that we would definitely, that we would definitely have a drill like that.
When did they tell
And
you this? Like at the beginning of the year or?
it was actually like a month before it happened. They told us because they had a serious like security meeting, and all the teachers were like, we had a security meeting, kind of stuff we have to go through, and it's really crazy because a month before, all the teachers they had like an actual serious drill. We had zones and stuff, and they knew about the practice drill that was going to go on and all, and yeah,
So, do
so
you remember do you know the date of your drill that you did in January?
Uh, no, I don't.
Okay, so but you did it after you came back from your Christmas break.
Right.
Was it a couple days after or like a week after? Do you know that?
I think it was a couple of days after Christmas break,
Do you
but
know when you got back from Christmas break?
no,
Okay, so
I
here's
can't
the thing.
This
recall.
is what we're
We're not
trying to
gonna
get
pull.
to.
We're not gonna pull any punches here, because you guys,
And
our
there
channel.
was a phone call to the FBI on January 5th. And
Mhm.
so it's highly suspicious that they might have gotten this tip, and then had you guys go through this drill immediately after, so that you would be ready for something that might happen. Because the FBI got the tip call, and then you're doing the drill
Mhm.
like within, and we're trying to see whether whether you did the drill after the call, which was January 5th, or
Right, and I
before.
also think that I did hear, there were plenty of phone calls about uh the shooter. There were I heard that there were, yeah, many phone calls to the police and the FBI, and it was really random because last year we didn't have, they weren't serious. This and then all of a sudden, right when we get back, they got so serious and they had zone drills. We got our fire zone drills, we got our bomb threat drills, and it was very weird because none of this had ever been assigned to us last year. It was just walk outside and go somewhere away from the building, and
Right.
now it was. I mean, maybe they were maybe some, I don't know. It maybe the school got a phone call about it
Right, right.
and they wanted to get more serious. And it was really good because all my teachers told me all day that every single student in the school reacted right,
Oh,
reacted to get down, get away from the doors.
That's
right.
awesome. That's
Yeah.
really really good to
Yeah.
hear.
What do you feel like when you hear some of your teachers? They said that they had to shut the door while there were kids being shot in the hallway because that's part of the drill. And one of your teachers actually died trying to keep
Hmm.
that door open just one more minute. What is that? What goes through your brain when you hear that?
Whenever I hear that, first I think I know he's a hero
Mm-hmm.
because he didn't, he didn't have to do that. He didn't have to stand there and save lives,
Right.
but he did, and he chose his life over students, which was very good. And also, it's just crazy to think about that, you know, that he would just, do that for the
Right.
students. I'm just shocked that he is seriously a hero for doing that, and all those heroes that did save lives, open the doors. That's what I really want to remember too.
Right. Yeah. No, it's. I can't even imagine having to. I think that's the worst thing that goes through your mind, having to shut that door and
Mhm.
leaving people in the hallway.
Oh, I couldn't do it.
I don't know. I couldn't do it. I know that would be part of the protocol, but I couldn't do it. So you've had a lot of time to read the articles. You've had a lot of time to discuss things. I know that Sheriff Israel has put a lot of blame on the security guard who didn't go in.
Mhm.
What are your thoughts about the security guard that didn't go in?
Um. Well, I did watch some video of him talking. I think in court or something when he resigned, that he was talking about he thought he heard shots outside, and I thought to myself, there's just no way. It was obviously everybody. I even knew myself something was wrong in
Mm-hmm.
that building
Right.
because on my way over there, I heard. I didn't really. At first I thought it was something else. It was like a speaker or some kind of car hitting something,
Mm-hmm.
and I wasn't even sure myself. And then I heard the fire alarms that triggered me off, but that
Right.
resource police officer, he probably knew. He was trained with a gun.
Right.
He had a vest, a bulletproof vest.
Right.
Maybe the shooter did have an AR, but
Right.
still, if his heart was not in it,
Right.
there what I mean, there's just nothing to say. He should have got involved.
Right.
He
Yeah.
could this could have been so much less than it was.
Right. And then I guess after Columbine, and you know about Columbine, the
Mhm.
school shooting. Then that was my era. That was all right when I was graduating. But so after Columbine, when the police and everybody did not storm the building,
I think it was 4 hours.
they had
that
new
didn't.
protocol that if you're on the scene, you go in. It doesn't matter if you've got a stage group. If you're on the scene as a police officer, as a medical, whatever, you go in. And
Mhm.
we've heard that there were 4 Broward County deputies that showed up. And then I guess you have another local Coral Springs Police Department, and they went in ahead of the Broward County when they showed up. The Coral Springs people, they put their lives on the line. And I guess there was some dispute between the Coral Springs Department and the Broward County on making and jumping towards action. So have you heard any of that? Have you heard? What are your thoughts on the 4 deputies that stayed out rather than? And from what I have heard, then this is hearsay, but I don't know if it's confirmed. They were given a stand down order, don't go in, but the Coral Springs police weren't, so they rushed right in. Just started
Mhm.
treating victims. One grabbed some like combat gauze, started putting it in wounds, things like that. Do you have any thoughts? There are kids in school. I'm sure you guys have tons of conspiracy theories going around in school. What are your thoughts on all this?
Um,
The
my thoughts are that the police officers who were given a stand down order, I really haven't heard much about that,
mm-hmm.
but I do know that that's even if given a stand down, I would still if I was putting myself in the police
Right,
officers, they're trained. They have vests. They need to
right,
take action.
right,
Who
right,
I mean, so what if it's a stand down? There are kids in there.
right. Exactly.
They're
You
need I
disobey
mean, if
orders.
right.
You go in, especially with the bulletproof vest, and you've got a weapon. I'm with you, man. I am so with you. If I've
Mhm.
got a weapon, even but if I've got a bulletproof vest, I'm going to go wherever I can go to try to rush in to help somebody.
So I hope you don't
Mhm.
mind this, and we'll use this as our last question. And then if you want to round off any thoughts that you have, please do. But there's a lot of talk right now about what we can do. There's the anti-gun talk to control the guns, make it harder for people to buy. There's the mental health.
There's talk about making sure the FBI handles tips
Mhm.
correctly, making sure the Broward County handles tips correctly.
But then there's also talks about arming teachers. There's talks about putting up metal detectors.
There's a school in
Mhm.
Indiana that has a $300,000 system where they have locks or doors that don't open from the outside and buttons and the teachers wear these pendants that they can just hit. So there's a lot, and I think that it's a really good discussion to have. because nobody wants to see this happen again.
But you were there, and if as a student going back into school, what kind of measures do you feel like would make you feel safe? And we're not leading you on this, like we literally just want your honest opinion. What would make you feel safer with some of these different ideas that are being thrown out?
I feel that we definitely need more. We need more coverage. We need more police officers, not swarms of them, but at least enough to be able to cover the entrances. Because he just walked straight through the front gate
Yeah, right.
of the senior lot when we need an officer there. Because when they open the gates for people to leave, there has to be someone monitoring it
Right.
to make sure if someone just walks in like he did, they could be stopped.
Right.
That could have been prevented if there was an officer there.
So are you saying
And
that it's gated?
our school is gated, but they're at the 15. I don't think they're going to do this anymore, but it used to be the last 15 minutes of school they would open the senior lot gates so all the students could get out. The seniors leave maybe a little bit early.
Sure.
They want to get out of there in their cars. Yeah, so that's how we got in too. I mean, it isn't hard to hop a fence, but still,
So it was he got in through the open gate the last 15 minutes of school?
yeah, he just walked straight through the
I
gate.
didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, that's he also got dropped off by an Uber. I don't know if you guys knew that.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he apparently got dropped off by an Uber, and the Uber person probably didn't know what he had
Right.
because they said he brought some kind of case that held everything.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's just crazy to think about the whole thing just in happening.
Right.
Yeah, like the Uber driver has to see this kid's got, I mean, what is that, a just big band instrument or something?
Right.
I don't know.
I mean, the Uber drivers are probably trained to, point A to point B.
Right.
Right.
Just do your job.
Right.
Get it done. So would you feel safer if you guys had metal detectors at the entrances, or would that just be too much of a headache?
I don't think I would feel safe because I don't know if you guys heard, but in New Orleans, did you guys hear about what happened in New Orleans about a week ago?
No.
Which I'm not sure to what you're referring.
Oh, okay. So, when I was in Disney, my dad found out that in New Orleans they have, I'm not sure what the school is called, but that in New Orleans a kid they have metal detectors at the school.
Mm-hmm.
A kid brought a gun, slipped it through the fence to another kid, and he went in and shot people. He shot 2 people.
Wow.
And I think they got killed. And this was like 2 days after ours. So
Interesting. Wow. And it's really interesting that if it was on the news, we would have heard about it. So it must have been really hushed because we did not hear about that. That is really interesting. So what you're saying is
if they could slip something through the fence, it doesn't matter if you're trying to go through the front.
Right. It doesn't matter. They could just get it in any way like that. It's okay, they don't walk through the metal detector. Say they, jump a gate, slip a gun through the gate, slip a knife. They could do anything like that.
Yeah. My mom wants to know, do you know the blonde, I can't remember her name, who said that as she was leaving, she's a senior or something, as she was leaving, she walked with Cruz? Do you know her?
I saw her being interviewed. I don't know her, but I definitely think that I watched the whole thing and I heard her talking about how she came out of the bathroom and then, she walked with Cruz and talked with them.
Right.
And I don't know. I have no idea if that's true. I'm kind of just, waiting for the surveillance stuff to see, how everything really did unfold.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because, anybody could say anything.
Right.
Yeah. And then when you're in that moment, it's hard to remember the timing because she said there was definitely a second shooter because she heard shots when she was walking with Cruz. So is that true?
Right.
Or did she mishear something?
That's definitely a lie. She said she was walking with Cruz and there was another shooter. There wasn't because I mean I haven't seen the personal surveillance video myself.
Right.
So my personal experience, I have no idea if there was, but I'm pretty sure there was not because they would have probably found him already.
Right. Sure. No. Yeah. It's just hard to put together all the different
Mhm.
testimonies and what everybody's saying because you're in the heat of the moment. Sometimes you do misremember things,
Right.
and you don't
Mhm.
know. So there's either a lie or you're misremembering or just a shock of it. So there's a lot of different things to consider. Um, do you have any words of wisdom for other high schoolers? You didn't know this was going to happen. If you had to redo the day over again, you know what I mean? Is there
Mhm.
anything you would have done differently? If there's any words of wisdom you have for any other high schoolers who may face this kind of situation?
Um, my word of advice really to other high schoolers is, be prepared. Just watch out.
Mm-hmm.
Anything can happen at any time, not knowing.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody really knew. He just opened fire on
Right.
rooms and without anybody knowing a single thing.
Right.
So
Right.
just be prepared, I guess. Yeah.
And I wonder if your teachers have, if they're going to reevaluate the see something, say something, because were so many interviews where a lot of your fellow students actually went to your faculty and went to your administration and said, this guy is threatening to kill my family. This guy's threatening to
Mhm.
kill my boyfriend. This guy's threatening to kill my girlfriend. He's selling knives in school. He's talking. He's got a ton of guns. I watched an interview today where one of your fellow students, his mom, called the cops, and because she saw an Instagram post, or your fellow student saw an Instagram post and showed his mom, where Cruz said,
Mhm.
"I'm going to be a school shooter," and she called the police, and the police said, "There's nothing I can do." So I
Oh,
wonder,
right.
yeah, if your
I
teachers
did
are saying, "Listen,
are
we're
you
going to take you seriously now."
okay.
Go ahead.
Um about what you just said, the where he said that I'm gonna be a school shooter, that YouTube comment. I think I found the actual guy's YouTube and I was watching today
Mm-hmm.
how what he said about it. I don't know if you guys want me to link that to you or something, but he was talking about it how he had no idea that this was ever gonna happen. He had no idea that what this kid was putting out there, and
Right.
I actually also I forgot to mention in my JROTC class, one of the kids, I'm not sure if this is a rumor or not, but he was on Dr. Phil. I know that for sure. But he was the last one to text Cruz. Cruz just texted him and said, "Yo." That's what he said, and he said
Wow.
that I I'm not sure if this is true, but there's a rumor going around that Cruz lived with the kid
He
that's in
did
my
live with
class.
one student. He did live with one.
Okay, then that might have not. It might have been true then that he did live with them
He lived with the
because
fellow student and his parents.
yeah. Then I'm pretty sure it was him then.
Okay. Well, there was actually, in addition to that YouTube comment, Cruz made an Instagram post,
Of a
and a
Mhm.
fellow student told his mom of like a picture with a gun saying, "I'm going to be a school shooter." So there's actually two, and she called the police, and the police said there's nothing that they can do. And I want people to know. She's even said that the mom, I can link to that video. The mom has even said, "I wish I'd known that I needed to push more,"
right.
because they can
Oh
do
yeah, I saw.
things. They can do things when somebody is threatening to do something violent. And I want to encourage you and your fellow students to not give up. If you see something, keep telling another authority. Keep telling until somebody listens
Listens.
to you.
Right. Somebody actually stands up and knows because there were just so many signs, and they always find this. I'm pretty sure the FBI had saw this, but why not take action? Why not
Yeah.
get on this? This
Yeah.
this seriously could have been prevented.
If I were you guys, I would be angry. I would be upset because so many people in authority that you're supposed to trust,
Mhm.
they drop the ball. And if there's any reform that needs to happen, in my humble opinion, it's that the FBI needs to reform how they answer hotline tips. What good is a tip if they don't follow through? What good
Mhm.
is if you know something is going to happen, and then of course calling the police. He had put guns to people's heads before,
Right.
and at that point, you're not allowed to buy a gun. if you put a gun to somebody's head. So he shouldn't even have been
Mhm.
allowed to buy guns. So there's so many different things. If there's something good, if anything good can come out of this, is that hopefully local law enforcement and teachers and principals and the FBI will all take their jobs a little bit more seriously, because there are lives on the line. And you can't really stop evil. People are going to do crazy things. People just do
Mhm.
crazy things. It's human nature. Um, and I don't know if you've seen people talking about it, but 50 years ago, people took guns to school because they had shooting class, right? Um,
Mhm.
I know you're a teenager, and I know this is a huge philosophical question that you may not be able to answer, and that's okay. What do you think is different between 50 years ago and today? You didn't have school shootings, but you had more guns actually in schools. What do you think? What do
Um,
you think might be a little bit different between the 1950s and now, in people's minds that would make them do something like this?
I just feel like, today, stuff, just things are much more. I mean, there's social media, so
Yeah.
it's social media has been much more introduced, and I feel that it just really does impact some people. It could make some people go crazy, such as cyberbullying and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I really do feel like it has an impact nowadays because if
Yeah.
social media didn't exist, it definitely would have been different. It definitely wouldn't have you know impacted people.
Right. Well, Cruz seemed to want attention, right? So
Mhm.
that's the social media aspect of it. He was Instagramming, he was, putting things on social media, he was putting
Right.
things on YouTube, and he wanted notoriety. It sounded like he was a lost soul. I don't want to paint him as a victim, but sometimes victims, have you ever heard the saying, um, a hurt dog will bite? Uh,
Uh, I have not know.
Well, there's a saying like if you see an injured dog, like with a broken leg,
Don't go near it because it might
it
bite
might
you.
bite you, right? It
Mhm.
doesn't mean to bite. That dog might not mean to bite. Well, when you look at Cruz's past and things kind of add up as like this neighbor lady was talking about him growing up and not being mentally sound and maybe not having the best mom or the best home life. She locked the refrigerator and she locked the cupboard so that the two brothers didn't have enough to eat. So she fed them, things like that. So um, I do, in a way, would like to point out that there was a brokenness in this young man.
And it could have been addressed with all these tips.
Right.
Like there was.
Right, and
Go ahead.
what I feel about that is I talked about this with my brother too. He might have had a bad past. He might have had, his parents pass away, his stepmom passed away. Maybe he hasn't had the best life, but it isn't. It's just not right to take it out like that. It
No,
Right.
you're
really was not right.
absolutely
Yeah.
right. You're absolutely right. But at the same time, what I'm really getting at, I'm not excusing it, but sometimes it's helpful to understand what led somebody to do something.
Mhm.
So like
Well,
if
obviously he had psychological issues.
he was not mentally sound.
And my point is, because it was reported, because there were so many phone calls, there's a lady out, her name is Dana Lesh, and she pointed out to Sheriff Israel at the town hall, and she said, many of these calls that were submitted to you guys, there's a statute under Florida law that allows them to pretty much take him in and have him analyzed
and committed.
and committed. And they could have done that and they didn't. And so when you see somebody that's so mentally unstable,
Right.
I think it was a societal fault. I think it was an authoritative fault. I think there were a lot of people that were at fault here, but obviously you don't commit these kind of things unless you're cray cray.
Right.
Like seriously.
Mhm.
So he was crazy.
A few weeks after his mom died, he called the cops on himself. He literally called the cops and said, I got in a fight. My mom just died. He tried to commit suicide. He tried to drink gasoline. He tried cutting himself. He should have been under some and whatever
Suicide watch, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a therapist though, and this is another ball that was dropped. Okay, there's a therapist that said he's not a threat to himself or others. But the therapist did say he wanted to commit suicide and he wanted to buy a gun.
Right.
That therapist should have their license taken away because I mean
Right.
any sane person would know if you're talking to somebody who says I want to kill myself, I drank gasoline and I'm thinking about buying a gun, that kid's gonna do something. You know what I mean?
Right.
And
You just really do know there's some up. I mean, there were just so many signs. This really
Yeah.
could have been prevented in like so many
many
different
ways.
ways.
All right, so it is a school night, and you are headed back to school tomorrow, I presume.
Yeah.
All right, so we have taken up enough of your time, but we want to thank you very, very much for
And we
for
want
being
you to
Yeah.
know that our viewers, even though they're conspiracy theorists and there's some crazy people in the chat, we have gotten lots of messages asking
many.
how you are doing
Yeah,
and asking, they did want to hear from you again because
there's nothing like getting a firsthand. You may not have, seen the shooter or whatever. You were there. This is your school. This is your community. So your opinion, especially here at Resistance Chicks, matters a lot.
it does.
So,
And I
we
get
value it.
teary-eyed when I think about what you guys are going through, when I think about what you've been through. Just know that we're praying for you guys.
Yeah. We're praying
Regardless
for the victims' families.
regardless of and just know, if we say stuff, if we talk about some of the kids and the anti-gun kids and things like that, it doesn't mean we don't care about the children. We care so much. We just all have different answers. We want to stop this as much as anybody, so just know that we do care about you very much. And is there anything you have the floor? Take 60 seconds. What do you want to? Anything you want to say?
I mainly do want to say that I mean, pray for our community. I really hope this does way out. It gets easier for us. School becomes sort of normal in a way again.
Yes.
Everything becomes easier for us to be able to heal and become normal people again.
Right.
Yeah.
That is what we were praying for you guys, and it's going to take a while. Interesting question. Do you guys have a spring break coming up?
We do in 2.5 weeks.
Wow. So that'll be kind of like a good, go back
Yeah.
for a couple of weeks and then take another break and then go back to school. Well, I'm glad to hear that the teachers are giving you all kind of an easy ride now.
Me too.
Giving you those A's, and so you don't have to have the pressure of academia. I'm sure that this year's graduation will be very, very emotional for a lot of seniors.
Absolutely.
And a lot of people there. So our prayers are with you. We would always love to have you on. If you ever feel like you want to say anything, contribute. If any of your friends want to be on, just have them get in contact with me. We're more than happy to just let you guys speak. And everybody in the chat, I don't know if you can see it, but they're all thanking you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me on the show, guys.
All
right, thanks,
Well,
Nick.
we're going to sign off now for Resistance Chicks.
We are. And we will see you guys back here Friday. We go live every Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard
Sundays at
Time.
1. European
All right.
news.
We love you. God loves you. God bless. And pray for
Parkland.
Parkland down there in Florida. All right. Bye, guys.
Thank you guys so much for having me on the show.
Thank you
Thanks
for
for
coming
being
on and
here.
for being honest and talking these things through. We really appreciate it.
All right. Get some sleep, Nick.
All right, night, guys.
Take care.